We've heard screenwriters use this phrase, cracking the story. So what does that mean exactly?
Well, cracking the story is kind of to continue from what we were just talking about. It's you have a story, you have the beginnings of a story, but then you beat out the story. You create the whole story. You roll out the carpet, basically, the whole story. So you don't really crack the story, and it may be more of a TV term than a film term. I'm not sure, but you don't crack the story until you are able to, sort of. You can tell the story from start to finish, and any of the holes in it are filled. And I mean, that's my interpretation of it. I mean, that you just, the concept of cracking something is like, oh, that was what was missing. We got it. Now we crack the story, and the rest of it just falls into place. So there's that, but also I think the concept of just being able to tell the story from start to finish. If I have to, if I send in a pitch, let's say, if I write up a pitch to send in to a producer, a network or something for a movie or a TV pilot or something, I don't just, I may send a premise line and see if just the general premise line is of interest, and they may say, oh no, we're doing something like that, oh that's great, give me more. I will give them the story from start to finish. It doesn't have to be very long. It could be a page and a half that I'm writing, but at least I'm not just giving them preamble. I'm not just giving them the first act of something. I'm not just giving them, like a tease. I'm basically telling them cracking that story for them. I'm telling them where that story is going to go from start to finish. Not necessarily in great detail, sometimes in more detail, but it's really about being able to show that this is an entire story. This is where this will move, and then we can fill it in and amplify it as we go along. So it's really being able to tell a story from start to finish. For me, anyway, that's my interpretation of it.
So what about those writers who say sometimes they begin something without knowing the ending?
Yeah, well, I've done that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've done that. Or the ending has changed a lot. With April, May, and June with this play, I didn't know what they were going to find. I didn't know that at the end of the first act the sisters were going to find something. That just, it became the obvious. It became the thing that was driving me, and I didn't even realize it. And I didn't know what that thing was going to be until I thought about it. So yeah, that was a case where I really didn't know. I've definitely written things where, if you're writing a romantic comedy, generally the couple will get back together in the end. There's all of that. There's some, kind of some givens. But yeah, sometimes you don't know. Frankly, I do think it's better to know, or at least have some idea. It's like getting in your car and saying, well, I know how to get halfway there, but like, I don't really know where I'm going after that. You're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere. So it's not dissimilar with a story. I prefer to know where I was going, and I think, certainly, before you start sitting down and writing it, you should have a pretty good idea of where you're going. And if it does evolve or if it changes along the way, great. Work with it, see where it takes you. These stories unfold on their own sometimes. But I think it's helpful to. Like I said, I'm a big believer in structure, but I have and having the beats out before I start writing something, from start to finish. But we can be surprised, and there have definitely been times that I have not known exactly where I was going until I got there.